Hi, mathematicians. Good morning. It's Mrs. Capizzi, and welcome to my virtual classroom. This video is part of the Calculating Cats series with myself and Miss Landis, and we're helping our fourth graders at Pennsauken Intermediate School with the contingency plan math lessons. So I figured out how to put my webcam in the corner, so I just wanted to give a shout out and say good morning, but I am going to X out of here for the lesson. So let's see what we have in store for us today. So on today's May 15th, 2020, and we will be working on 13-1 equivalence with customary units of length. We will be reading page 680 and completing the convince me. And on page 681, you will be completing problems numbers 1 through 5. So let's talk a second about what is a customary unit. Customary units are what we use in the United States. So if you look at this chart here, you can see that we've got feet to inches, yards to feet to inches, miles to yards to feet. So these are all conversions. So when we're talking about length or how long something is, we typically measure it in feet and inches if it's something relatively small. If something's a little bit larger, we might measure it in yards. And if we are talking about distance, for example, that a car drives, you talk about in miles. But sometimes they might ask you, you might want to know how many inches a foot is. So you might convert the number of feet you have to inches, etc. So we're going to be talking about converting from one type of unit to another. When you're talking about capacity or how much fits in a container, so we use this a lot, for example, for cooking. The recipe might be in cups, and 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. So that would be the liquid measurement. A pint is equivalent to 2 cups, which is equal to 16 fluid ounces. A quart is equal to 2 pints, which is equal to 4 cups. And the largest capacity we talk about is a gallon, which is 4 quarts or 8 pints. So when we're talking about weight or how heavy something is, we typically, like when you go to the doctor and they weigh you, that is given in pounds, but pounds can also be converted to ounces. Or if you're talking about something super heavy, like maybe a car, you would weigh it in tons, and 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. Now, you might be asking yourself, do I have to write all of these words out? So here are some abbreviations that you can use. For GAL is an abbreviation for gallon. QT does not mean cutie. It stands for quart. And PT is the abbreviation for pint. C is the abbreviation for cup. And FLOZ is the abbreviation for fluid ounces. Don't ask me where they got the Z from. I'll have to Google that. And something else I'm going to be talking about is finding the magic number. So the magic number is the number that you need to do your conversion. So I'm going to flip over to my document camera over here, aka hi again, also known as my iPhone. Hi guys. Sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties with my connecting my phone as a document camera, but I've gotten everything squared away. So I just want to go back and talk about this magic number again. So, for example, when we're looking at this conversion chart, and I will attach a picture of this to Dojo so you can print it out if you like. So here, if you're going from feet to inches, so if you're going this way, you would multiply. But if you're going from inches to feet, so you're going to the left, you would divide. So let's take a look. I'm just going to focus on, for this example, the length up here. So let's say you had 3 feet and you want to know how many inches that is. So here I'm going from feet to inches. So I'm going from feet to inches. So I'm going to the right. So I know I'm going to have to multiply. And my magic number is 12. So I would take 3 times 12, which is 36. So my magic number was 3. And I'm sorry, my magic number was 12, and I multiplied by 3. Hi guys, it's Mrs. Capizzi again. I apologize for that. I was having some technical difficulties. So I just want to go back and talk about this magic number. Now, when you are looking at this particular chart, when you're moving to the right, you're going to multiply by the magic number. And when you're moving to the left, you're going to divide by the magic number. So for example, if I'm going from feet to inches, I'm moving to the right, so I would multiply. But if I'm converting from inches to feet, I'm going to divide. So let's do a couple examples here. Let's say I have 4 feet and I want to know how many inches that is. So I'm going from feet to inches. So feet to inches, I'm multiplying, and my magic number is 12. So I would take 4 times 12, and 4 times 12 is 48. So 4 feet equals 48 inches. But now let's say I was going from feet to yards. Let's say I had 9 feet, and I want to know how many yards that is. So I'm going from feet to yards. So I'm moving to the left. So I am going to divide. So feet to yards, my magic number is 3, but I need to divide. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So 9 feet equals 3 yards. So let's go ahead and look at what your assignment is for today. So we need to read page 680. Our essential question is, how can you convert from one unit of length to another? So here, let's look at the sample the example that they want us to do. Maggie has a tree swing. How many inches long is each rope from the bottom of the branch to the tree swing? So here they give you a couple different things. The branch is 10 feet from the ground. So this is the branch right here. Okay. And that is 10 feet from the ground. So the ground is down here. Sorry, that's not a very straight line. But then the swing is 2¼ feet off of the ground. So from here to here, where I'm going to make that blue. See the color here. So from here to here, that is 2¼ but they just want to know how far it is, like how long each of these ropes are. So they're talking about from here to here. So how long is this rope and how long is this rope? So one important thing is we are going to be looking at the different measurements that they gave us. So here you can see they gave us the measurement in feet, right? 10 feet and 2¼ feet. But they're asking for how many inches. So we're going to have to do a conversion. So let's take a look how we are going to do that. So in our measurement here, in our conversion chart, they've got 1 foot is 12 inches, 1 yard is 3 feet, which also equals 36 inches. 1 mile is 1,760 yards. And 1 mile is also equal to 5,280 feet. Now, this table is just something that you pretty much have to memorize because it's not as, they're not just numbers that are easy like the metric system, which we're going to be going over later in the school year. So let's take a look at step 1. So here, step 1, it says find the length of the rope in feet. So again, I don't necessarily love this as the first example that they're giving to you because, first of all, it's in fractions, and second of all, it is a multi-step problem. So really, what they're asking you to do here is you just want the length of this blue line, okay? So what they had done before is, remember, from the rope, from the top of the branch down to the ground, that was 10 feet, but then from the bottom of the swing to the ground was 2¼ feet. So you actually have to subtract out 2¼ from 10. So let's take a look at how they do this. So we did do a lesson on subtracting fractions, and I am going to go over what happened in this box here. So you can see they changed 10 into 9 4/4. So let's go over here and see what is going on. And I'm going to do that step by step for you. So here we've got 10 minus 2 1/4. And let me zoom in on this a little bit. So here, my fraction part is 1/4. And if I look here, I don't have any fraction to take that away from. So I need to regroup. So I'm going to take 1 away from the 10. So the 10 becomes a 9. And I'm going to regroup that as 4/4 because remember, 4/4 is equivalent to 1 whole. So now I can do 4/4 minus 1/4, which is 3/4, and 9 minus 2, which is 7. So let's go back over here. And you can see here, that's how they got the 7 3/4. So each rope is 7 3/4 feet long. So now you need to change that to inches. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's break this down here. So from our conversion chart, we know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So basically what they did here, we had 7 3/4. Okay, and that is my feet. Okay, so I'm going from feet to inches. So I can see my magic number here is 12 because 1 foot is 12 inches. So I need to take 7 3/4 and multiply that by 12. Okay, so let's review how we do that. So what we're going to do is use the distributive property. So here, if I have 7 3/4 and I need to multiply that by 12, remember, you can use the distributive property to break this apart. So this, I could do this as 12 times 7 plus 12 times 3/4. Okay, so 12 times 7, you can do that off to the side. 12 times 7 So 7 times 2 is 14, so I drop the 4 and regroup the 1. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. Okay, so this would be 84 plus, remember when you're multiplying a whole number by a fraction, you take the whole number times the numerator. So 12 times 3 is 36 fourths. And remember, 36 fourths is really the same thing as 36 divided by 4. So I know my fact families, 36 divided by 4 is 9. Okay, so I can rewrite this as 84 plus 9. And 84 plus 9 is, everyone, 93. Okay, so let's go back over here. So that's where they got the 93 inches from. So they broke it apart into 7 times 12 and then 3/4 times 12. So let's see what we need to do for the convince me here. So the convince me says, how do you know the answer is reasonable when converting a larger unit to a smaller unit? So when they're saying a larger unit, so for example, feet are larger than inches, right? So to convert from a larger unit to a smaller unit, you will multiply because there will be more of the smaller units than the larger units. So the reason being is it takes more inches to make up 1 foot. So it takes 12 inches to make up 1 foot. So you're going to have more smaller units than larger units. So I'll give you a minute to jot that down for the convince me. Okay, so when you're converting from a smaller unit to a larger unit, so for example, if I'm converting from 3 feet and I'm converting that into inches, I'm going from a larger unit because feet are bigger than inches. And since there's 12 inches in 1 foot, I know I need to do 3 times 12. And 3 times 12 is 36. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a peek at the questions that you need to complete for today. So what I want you to try to do is I want you to pause the video. I want you to try numbers 1 and 2. And when you're ready, you'll press play to check your work. All right, I trust you. I hope you paused the video. Let's take a look at number 1. Does it take more inches or feet to equal a given length? Well, I kind of just explained that to you. So down here, if you look, it says 1 foot is 12 inches. So it takes more inches because it takes 12 inches to make 1 foot. So let's see how we can write that out. So let me grab a text box here. And does it take more inches or feet? So hopefully you answered something like this. It doesn't have to be exactly. Let me just change this to blue and we'll make it bold so it stands out. So I'm going to restate. So it takes more inches than feet because 1 inch is smaller than 1 foot. So there are more inches than feet. So hopefully it's something like that. It doesn't have to be exact. And let's take a look at number 2. Which is a greater distance, 9 yards or 9 miles? Well, hopefully just from your common sense that you know that yards are shorter than miles. So if I was going to put that in a sentence, I could say something like this. And again, I'll make this bold, italic. Let's make this one, I don't know, purple. Okay. So 9 miles is a greater distance than 9 yards. So if you think about it, 9 miles, you would get in a car to drive 9 miles, but you wouldn't need a car to drive 9 yards. That would just be maybe walking across your kitchen, something like that. So over here, let's take a look at number 3. So I want you to pause the video, do number 3, find your magic number. So you're going from miles to yards. So what is your magic number? And then go ahead and press play when you are ready. Okay, so welcome back. 2 miles is equal to how many yards? Okay, so my magic number is 1,760. So let me go over here. So my magic number is 1,760. So I'm going from miles to yards. So over here, when I'm going from miles to yards, I'm moving to the right. So I'm going to multiply, and my magic number is 1,760. So I would need to take 1,760 and multiply that by 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 6 is 12. So I drop the 2 and regroup the 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. Drop the 5, regroup the 1. And 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So 2 miles is 3,520 yards. So let's go back here. So 2 miles is 3,520 yards. So hopefully you guys did well with that. And I will just highlight this so that you know that that's the answer. Okay, so now what I want you to do is try number 4. Do not be afraid that this is a fraction. You still use the same magic number, and we did go over an example of how to convert with a fraction. So I want you to try number 4, and when you're ready to check your work, press play. All right, guys, welcome back. So let's take a peek here. So we've got 4 2/3 yards, and we need to convert that into feet. So I'm going to look over here, and I'm going from yards to feet. So I'm going from yards to feet. So I will be multiplying because I'm going to the right. And my magic number will be 3. So I need to take 4 2/3 times 3. So I'm just going to break this apart using the distributive property. So I've got 4 times 3 plus 2/3 times 3. And 4 times 3 is 12 plus 2/3 times 3. So remember to multiply a fraction times a whole number. You will multiply the numerator times the whole number. 2 times 3 is 6. 6/3. And remember, let me move this over here. 6/3 is really the same thing as saying 6 divided by 3. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, so if I go back over here, I have 12 plus 6/3, which is the same thing as 12 plus 2, which equals 14. Okay, so 4 2/3 yards equals 14 feet. So let's go back over here. And don't forget to show your work. So we don't want to just see an answer here. We do want to see your work. So this was 14 feet. So 4 2/3 yards equals 14 feet. And then the last one is easy peasy. So we're finishing up here with number 5, and I'm going from 6 feet to blank inches. So if I'm going from feet to inches, I'm moving that way. So my magic number is 12. So all I have to do is take 6 times 12. And if we know our 6s and our 12s, which I'm sure that we do, 6 times 12 is, anybody? You got it. 6 times 12 is 72. So 6 feet equals 72 inches. So I hope that this video helped you. Thanks for stopping in today, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.